Welcome to season 2 of Mucked Up My Self-Care.
I'm Linda from Tasmania.
And I'm Jill from New York.
We're literally on the opposite sides of the world right now.
Which means between the two of us, we've mucked up in multiple time zones.
Internationally mucked up.
Oh, we started this podcast talking about self-care in the chaos of motherhood.
But this season we're going deeper into capacity, identity shifts, growth, and what sustainable self-care actually looks like.
Yeah, and it's still messy, it's still real, but now it's just a little bit more intentional.
So if you're a mum who has tried self-care and absolutely mucked it up,
or a mom who has no idea where to even start,
bunk down on the couch or a laundry pile, whatever you've got.
And let's get going.
Okay. Hi, everyone. It's Linda here for another month. Launching into season 2, as you just heard.
And I'm Jill.
Yes. Yeah, wonderful. And today we're going to start off as we normally do, because, Jill, have you ever had the feeling when you finally get to book in something or finally get to some self-care and then you feel really guilty the entire time? It's like a loop. And or I think of like a spiral staircase going down and down and down. Like it just, self-care is meant to be that thing that's there to help us, but it turns out that sometimes it actually makes us feel worse or guilty.
Yeah.
So it's hard.
It is.
Yeah.
So today we're talking about why moms feel bad for doing good things for themselves and how we're trying to stop the cycle for ourselves.
Yeah, exactly. It's a work in progress.
Yeah.
But first we're going to just talk about here how the week actually really did look like for us. So highs and lows and all that sort of stuff. Yeah. Just to remind us that we're multifaceted and it's not just all butterflies and roses and all that sort of stuff. So Jill, do you want to dive in first this week?
Yeah.
Excellent.
So my high is we had one really nice warm day in the midst of all of this winter chaos of snow and freezing temperatures, and we got to get out of the house and go play, do our usual fun thing, which is go to the skate park. So I got to take Declan out for about an hour and a half or so, and we just got to be outside in the warmth and sunshine.
So nice.
He made new friends and just got to do our thing of being at the skate park. And it's funny because Declan has a gas powered motorbike, really small thing, but he's still too small for it. We realized, but we've been missing the keys for it because he plays with things like that, and I put them in a safe place, and we cleaned his playroom, and I finally found them somehow, and I'm like, this is not the safe place that I put them in. They somehow moved from that spot. I finally found them, so we were able to try it out, and that was very, very fun. Bobby got to ride it with Declan hanging on in the back of him, and the smile from this child.
Oh my gosh.
It made the day so worth all of the headache around it and getting like all of us ready to go out for the day. But yeah, it was good. My low, I think is this chaos of motherhood in making plans with others. And how it affects
sorry, I'm not laughing. I'm not laughing at you. It's just so relatable.
It like I am all gung-ho for it, but everyone else gets their high hopes for this anticipation of going someplace with someone, and when it falls apart, I'm okay with it, but nobody else is okay with it. and then it just ruins the whole rest of the day. And I'm,
and you have to pick up the pieces of everyone falling apart.
Yeah, like that one's easier to kind of like distract with something else, and I can like, why don't you go play a video game for a while, and like you and I go do something. But sometimes my husband is not that forgiving and just then has an attitude and disappears for the time being. So I don't know. It's I get it because I'm flaky and I don't want to always hold up my end of the bargain, but also I try so hard with my type A planning that I don't want to be that person that does that either, because I know what it's like to have to figure out what to do instead and console a child who was really excited to go do something.
Yeah.
So that's my low.
Yeah, it's so hard, Jill, honestly. Yeah, I feel like I could copy and paste your low as well, because that's one thing that's been so hard. I think that nobody really tells you how adaptable you have to be and how much you need to just be like, I might do this thing at this time or an hour later when everyone might get out the door. And then even just planning something and then all of a sudden you wake up and everyone's sick, or someone's just vomited all night, or like it's just there's so many variables, especially with a few more children as well. It's really tricky. It's really tricky. And then I think also around the 5-year-old age, they start to understand that they can probably ask to do things a little bit more, like go and play at so-and-so's house or go to the museum or go to the park. But then it's sort of like all of a sudden they want to do 50 things in the day. And you're like, no.
Like there's only enough time to do this.
Yeah. And it just becomes quite exhausting. Yeah, it is really, really tricky. And the guilt is so high. High. A high for me, I think I went to a book club meeting yesterday, which was my first sort of social in-person outing for a long time. So that was really, really nice. But I was also worrying about everything that was happening back here at the same time. Yep, as we do.
Yeah.
It's that tug between doing the thing and then feeling like okay, and then feeling awful, and then okay again, and then it's exactly what we need to try and unpack a little bit more today, I think.
Yeah, I think so. Especially being like us feeling so guilty. I think at least from our conversations, all this time now, Linda, is probably the number one reason why we end up not doing self-care for ourselves. It's not that we're lazy, sometimes we are lazy, but what is
sure. Sometimes we're exhausted.
And then also like what's behind that laziness, and then we don't have the time, but what's behind the fact that we don't have any time? It does really come from that we feel guilty that we're not putting something else first. We're putting ourselves first then.
It's a huge barrier. And I think it's been reinforced for so many generations as well. I know my mum still feels guilty when asking for help. But she needed some help with her computer today. And she was like, oh, I know you're really busy. And I know it's probably too much to ask. And I just can't get it to work. And it keeps bringing up this error message. I'm like, Mum, it's okay. It's just an error message. It's not going to blow up in 10 seconds or anything. But she's sacrificed a lot over the years. And I've watched that, and I'm sure I've learned it subconsciously as well. Have you noticed any patterns in your family of guilt?
I don't think I haven't, because my family is not afraid to ask for help. And that's not including me. I feel that loop of I feel bad for asking for someone help, then I don't do anything, and then I feel worse, and then I feel even less deserving of that self-care. But I like my other people in my family. My sister, she is cautious of not taking on my stuff, so she stays away from asking me for helps because she knows there's things going on. But my mom is not shy about it.
Yeah. Okay.
She'll ask for help.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you think guilt comes up more when we're asking for help?
I think I think we can find some equality in there. Like when we're trying to put ourselves first, we're feeling that guilt, but also when we're like, we need the help to be able to put ourselves first, we're feeling the guilt also.
Yeah.
Yep.
They do work side by side, I think, a lot. And it's tricky. So what do you think's driving that guilt and keeping it in a loop? It's keeping us stuck there.
I don't know if it's what we see society-wise and what's doing that, if we're learning it from like seeing what everyone else is doing, or if we're being taught that. I'm sure it's kind of both of those things, what we're observing others do that we don't know the truth behind. And if that person is feeling guilty, we just know it just feels uncomfortable for us to sacrifice ourselves in a way, to say, like, I don't know. What are your thoughts on that one?
I think there's a lot of conditioning. I think there's a lot of catching up that society needs to do as far as understanding guilt and what drives it. I do think that a lot of it can come down to judgment, how we judge ourselves. And even when no one's judging us, we're judging the state of the house. So we've talked about rage vacuuming and housework a lot and how it gets in the way of self-care at times. And so often I think we equate our external world as a reflection of our internal. And so much guilt is internal. And I think we are judging ourselves on the state of our house. And that's probably for good reason, because I know that my house does function better when it is in order and people can find things and we're not losing a left shoe as we're going out the door. And it does feel calmer and safer and better if it is tidy up. At the same time, I've been in positions where I've felt so guilty when it isn't mess, when I am sick on the couch for a day and everything just turns to shit, or we've been out all day and I haven't been able to do the bare basics, but we've had a great time. So again, it's that loop.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, I grew up with it being I can't go out and do something until my chores are done.
Yeah, sure.
Which means that the house is tidy. So I'm enforcing that in my own home. So even just this past weekend, we had both Saturday and Sunday off, but we were expecting snow on Sunday, and I didn't want to be stuck home doing the chores by myself. That's supposed to be, input from everybody. Yeah. So on the nicer day, we did spend the time to go ahead and do the chores, but we were able to do it in half the day. So the other half of the nicer day wasn't sacrificed. We only sacrificed a little bit of time. So taking that into consideration, though, what parts, we were all exhausted by the time we were done with our chores, that did we really want to go out? Would it have been better for us to gone out first and done all our chores? We wouldn't have gone out first and do our chores after. We wouldn't have done our chores after. We wouldn't have done them on Sunday.
Yeah.
So there's
same time.
When are we figuring this all out?
Yeah, if I waited until all the chores were done and tried to get all 4 kids doing chores at the same time, I'd never get out of the house. I'd just literally be housebound and feel like a slave.
That. And then like,
I mean, yeah, maybe it's justifying a bit.
Yeah. And if I ask someone to come watch Declan so we can go out, like we have a babysitter that watches Declan every week for us to do date night. I've gotten over the fact that my house is a mess. I just text her and tell her, don't look around the house because you'll want to clean and I don't want you to touch my stuff. Like there's no worry on it. Like just ignore the mess around you. It's been a week. I've gotten to the fact that it's okay, but I understand not wanting someone else outside of that comfort zone to come and watch Declan and walk into my house that's a mess. So I feel like I need to clean first before I can even have someone come help half the time. You know, like it's this, what else needs to be done before I can allow someone into my chaos space?
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, but at the same time, you're prioritizing self-care for your relationship, you know, with Bobby as well by going out for a date night and organizing that babysitter. And even if the guilt does creep in a little bit sometimes, it's got better with practice, right?
Yeah. I will say I used to clean up before she came over, but now that I'm pregnant, it's a lot harder.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So true.
But and this is all stuff that we can unlearn.
Sure.
You know, like, and it's hard. I say that like with such ease that like we can unlearn how to be guilty about this. It is not easy. Like and you're saying I'm putting my relationship over the house mess. Yes, I am. But that's not my doing. That's my husband's doing. He's like, it doesn't matter. And I get to leave the house guilty. Like I still feel that pressure. So I think that kind of helps me get past it is having him, and that works for us. I mean, it is when you're working on that by yourself, that is not easy to get past that guilt. But we will need to start unlearning that piece so we can be more free with our self-care.
Yeah. It takes a lot of practice though.
Yeah.
And then we've got other people, you know, there's that, well, taking care of myself means I've got to sacrifice something else, which we've touched on again as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really tricky.
It is.
Yeah. And I do think, you know, there might be some weeks where you feel more guilty about going to that date night than others, dependent on how tired you are, what state the house is in, what sort of day you've had, whether you've stopped at all during the week. Like there's so many variables that can happen. Yeah. That it's not just a one fix sort of thing.
And then like think about work. You know, we're both entrepreneurs. We're trying to figure out that harmony that we can create in life, not just, you know, for me for the date night, but I put boundaries up in my calendar knowing that I only work when Declan's at school, unless I have set times where he's understanding. We both can like, no, well, mommy's going to work, you know, for an hour and you're going to do something else for an hour. But outside of that, it is his, like, I'm attentive to him and my family. So, you know, keeping that boundary set up of this is the appropriate time to put these things in my day.
How much practice has that taken?
Oh my gosh. It has taken 5 years to set up the boundary and stick with it. Yeah.
And but also saying, okay, this is my dedicated work time. I'm not going to put on a load of washing and do the dishes and you know, paint the walls and like retile the bathroom in this time. This is my work time.
I will say I have a self-care block on the calendar for every weekday for like 2 hours. And I'm not consistent with practicing self-care in that time. Or at least should say I'm not good at practicing good self-care practices because I am spending that time with my son still. Like that is our family time. And, you know, sometimes karate falls into that time space or he goes and plays with the neighbor and his best friend next door. And that is self-care for him, which means that I get alone time, which is self-care for me right now, where I get to sit and rest.
Sure. So just one quick question around that for you. Do you feel guilty that you're not dedicated to that self-care time yet?
Yes and no. And I give myself like a little, I do have a should have. I should be doing something else in this time. But then I also have to consider how much other things I've done in that day already. And is this rest more productive to sit down and either fuel my body with food or just fuel my body with rest? And I usually have that little bit of a tug of war of I should have be doing something else, but also this is the right thing to be doing based off of what the day has been like.
Yeah. So if we're thinking about like shifting this a little bit and reframing it now, I think it's important to break down that loop and what it does look like in a real week. And I guess for me, the first thing is to notice it and catch yourself in that guilt and saying, yep, there it is. Yep, there it is again. Well, and then naming it out loud or to the dog or the cat or the goldfish or the plant or whatever you've sort of got close by so that you can actually notice it and name it out loud to whatever. Yeah, however you can, whether that's writing it down or saying it out loud or putting a marker on the fridge or something like that, a sticker on the chart or something. Just noticing it and catching it first, which is, it's interesting when you become intentional about that, how much you might be doing it.
Yeah. Awareness. Awareness is a big thing in that for sure. But also being aware of like what you're capable of.
Yeah.
And because I know that can come into the play of feeling guilty. Like I was just saying, like, what am I capable of in the self-care time? Like I can name the guilt. Yes. Why am I feeling guilty for not doing it right now? But also, am I aware of what I can possibly be doing? Because if I feel guilty that I'm not going out to go exercise and I'm 5 months pregnant right now and not feeling up to exercising, I should be feeling guilty for that. I should be being aware of what I'm fully capable of doing and adjust it for that reason. So
exactly.
I think sometimes we get guilty because we're trying to do more than what we are capable of. And that fits into that too, I think. So I think you were so on point with naming that guilt and seeing where we are feeling guilty, but also acknowledging and being aware of what we're capable of in that time frame too.
Yeah. And it's also, sometimes doing the self-care anyway, even if perhaps the house isn't that tidy or you don't need to always justify why you think you need it or shrink down your needs and those sort of things as well. Yeah. Again, easier said than done because you don't know all the variables of what might happen, and kids who won't sleep right now and are still walking around the house at 10:38 at night. I'm like, I put you to bed over an hour ago. What's going on?
And your self-care might not be doing an activity. It might just be rest. We've talked about this before too. Rest is productive. And you don't need to have a tick off list to be able to rest. And I am so guilty of this because I see my husband takes breaks when he's in the middle of doing things with me, like chore wise or like around the house. And I'm like, why did you stop? We're not done yet. And he just takes breaks. And I'm like, breaks mean you don't get back up. So, I have my own warring with that.
You always want to do the fun stuff, like take a break. Definitely. Rest is crucial.
Yeah, but these are small things, but they're a start to like breaking that guilty loop. So yeah.
Yeah, it's hard work.
It is.
Especially when you can hear them in the background and you're like, oh.
Yeah. But it is an okay thing to do. Do something good for yourself without having to earn it first. And I think that's the difference between like giving yourself permission to do something versus feeling you've earned it.
Yeah.
So,
or have to apologize.
Yeah.
And say, oh, I'm sorry, I'm just having a break. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm just.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you're allowed to feel good. That's it.
Yep. You are allowed to feel good. Need that strapped up on a banner somewhere.
Yep. Try saying something for yourself this week. It's one of your self-care things, and just, I deserve this, not I earned it.
No.
We're gonna do
and when that guilt does show up, and I'm sure it will, it will for us, I reckon.
Yeah.
Try to name it out loud and notice what's happening.
Yeah.
And make sure that you're taking care of yourself the best you can.
Yep. Because you're not a bad mom for taking care of yourself.
No, you're a better one for it.
Yeah.
Yep. And you are definitely, a great, great mum and co-host and all the rest of it. Yeah,
I love it.
I really appreciate this time.
Oh, it's so good. Oh, well, if you felt that we appreciate you listening, we'll say that first. Thank you for listening to us ramble on about guilt with self-care. And if you felt like this was hitting home for you, we ask that you share it with another mom who might be feeling stuck in the guilt loop also. And if you're struggling with it, send us an email. It's muckedupmyselfcarepodcast@gmail.com. We'll talk it through via email. Maybe we can even talk it over if it's a great point on an episode too. But yeah,
because we are all in this together, really. And there's so many common themes that come through, not just for us, but for millions of mums and their self-care all over the world.
And if you have a win with one of your self-care activities that you did without apologizing for it, screenshot or take a snapshot of your self-care act this week and share it. You don't need to, if you want to tag us in it, it's Linda and Jill on Instagram, but it's we want to celebrate that with you because that's a big win.
So. Definitely. Yeah. So Jill, until next week.
We hope you can unstuck your muck. Bye.